Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are recording Monday, February 10th. Celtics Heat tonight, which we're going to talk about shortly. Bunch of other NBA stuff. How you doing, Sam?
Doing good. Excited for the game today. Should be a fun one. We don't know if Tatum and Brown are going to play. There's buzz that they may not. Not that anybody who's listening to this cares because they know if they played or not. But as of now, that's the big thing. Fun show on the docket today, of course. Anytime there's a Heat game, it's worth talking about. First look at the new look Heat. So we'll talk about that. Talk about NBA standings, of course. We'll go through your emails. And then we'll talk a little bit about some trades, not trades. Go through some injuries. Maybe Embiid's going to get another surgery. Go through the rat list. Then, of course, we'll get out of here. Make sure you stick around through all of it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. Other videos are up in between. So, yeah, stick around. It's going to be a fun show.
Yes, sir. Let's jump right over to Heat Celtics now. All right. We are here after the Celtics' big win over the Miami Heat. A final score of 103-85. Went down early in the first quarter, but a dominant victory after that. Jayson Tatum, incredible game, especially third quarter forward. Al Horford contributed. No Drew, no Jalen, no problem. Big win over the new look Heat.
I can't believe Derek White only had 13 points. I just opened up the box score, and I was like, wait, what? Yeah, Tatum just murdered them, ripped their souls out in the third quarter. This was a weird game because it was starting to feel like in the first quarter we were going to see one of those our threes aren't going and what do you want out of us performances from the Celtics. But instead, they first and foremost, they did make a lot of shots after that. But they kept Miami from scoring. They held them to 85 on the night. Miami never scored more than 25 in a quarter. Like even in the first quarter when things weren't going well for Boston, they were not giving up a lot of baskets on the opposite end, which is a really good sign. Because in a lot of games this year, anytime they've been cold, the other team just has their way. Wasn't the case tonight. Very happy to see growth in that area for the Celtics. For those of you that are 40-20 watchers that look for that record to determine if they win a championship, you are now a 2-3 span away from hitting
that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This was the second fewest points the Celtics have allowed in the game this season. They beat the Warriors earlier this year, 125-85. And do you know what the fewest is, Sam, off the top of your head?
70-something?
71. Raptors. 125-71, a 54-point win.
I wasn't positive which team it was, but I thought 71 was the number.
New Year's Eve against the Raptors just blew the doors off.
What a great game.
But yeah, this Miami game, the defense was awesome. The new trio of Heats, the Jimmy Butler, whatever you want to call them, the Jimmy Butler Hall, shot a combined 5 of 25.
That's me.
The field.
You don't have to do
that. They killed them. I will say, listen, I like the concept that they're going for here of all that on defense, and they held the Celtics to 103. Like that's a good defensive game. And Wiggins is a great defender. Mitchell's a great defender. Kyle Anderson does what Kyle Anderson does. It only works if you score. And they just didn't score much in this game. Like you said, Jayson Tatum just made the Heat look like a JV team for the entire third and fourth quarters. He could do no wrong. He still took some of the Tatum whatever shots, but by the time he was taking them, you earned it.
You wanted to see
go
it.
Ahead.
Like, what's
go ahead, take them.
Shout out to the man on Twitter insane. That was like Heat have great defenders to handle the Celtics or whatever he tweeted, and he was like Kello Ware or Wiggins on Tatum, Kello Ware on Brown, Bam on I don't know who they put him on, but anyways, the point is Miami didn't look like they were ready to guard the Celtics without Jalen and Drew today.
No, and Miami's offense will probably look a lot better when Tyler Hero comes back. He's their biggest source of offense, but this just wasn't close. Al Horford, incredible game, 16 points, 10 rebounds, 6 of 11, 4 of 8. He was awesome. Kristaps was relatively cold for most of the game, but he ended up shooting 8 of 15, which is a good night. He just didn't have it from 3. Peyton Pritchard had 5 points, but he had 10 rebounds and 8 assists, which is fun. Sam Hauser didn't miss. Sam Hauser carried the Celtics offense when literally nobody else could shoot the ball for half of this game. And they only shot 17 of 53, which is 32%, which isn't great. But Hauser was 5 of 8. He had 15 in the first half alone, and then he just didn't get a lot of shots in the second half. Just a good all around game, man. We'll get into some of the individual performances, but this felt like a put together a win where it didn't look like you were playing great at the start. Things weren't going right. They figured it out. They pieced stuff together as the game went on, and it all worked out in the end.
So what is this now? This is two wins in a row. Is that
Yes.
6 out of 7 now?
It's 2 wins in a row, and they've won 7 of their last 10. Let me look at their schedule. 2 in a row, and yes, 6 of their last 7.
Nice. Celtics might be back. I was pretty strict on when I would not buy back in, but just be like, all right, like everything is fixed. They're figuring things out. It's really starting to feel like they're figuring things out. This is too like, I mean, Miami's Miami. They're not like a serious contender anymore, but like what they did on Saturday combined with what they did today, despite not getting off to a great start, was very impressive to me. And the fact that Tatum was just, you said it, making them look like a JV team where it didn't matter who they put on him, he was going to get to the place on the floor that he wanted to shoot from, and he was dominant. That is a massive, encouraging takeaway thing to see, whatever you want to call it, because in the playoffs, you need him to be able to do that. And you didn't see that last year because teams were like selling out to go all in on Tatum. And listen, if they do it, he's proven time and time again he's capable of passing out of a double team, setting up his teammates. I mean, even today, all 5 starters hit double figures. So not only was it a great Tatum game, but well-rounded game from everybody else too.
Yeah. I mean, even once the Heat decided to throw a little bit of extra pressure at Tatum, he just kicked it to the corner for a 3, and it was like, all right, well, we just can't do anything. That's when Tatum takes over the game most, is when he like that's why he takes some of those shots, unfortunately. It's because if he is hot in isolation, you cannot beat the Celtics. If Jayson Tatum is hitting like he was in the third quarter, you can't double him because he'll just pass out of it, and you can't single cover him because he'll cook you, and you just lose. Like that's how good Jayson Tatum is at his peak. This is peak Jayson Tatum right here, and he should have had way more than 2 assists, but no one was making shots for almost all of this game. Sam Hauser, man, you pronounced him dead, and I'm gonna keep bringing it up.
I did.
As long as he continues to prove you wrong. It was after the Warriors game you pronounced him dead, right? I just want to keep a running tally of how well he's been shooting in spite of your declaration. I think it was the
Warriors game because I said it on here, and then I also said it on late night first the floor, and people were mad.
Yeah,
he's not dead, but I said he was dead. Bad diagnosis. Sorry.
No, it's funny. Like, I don't actually care. I'm curious to see the level of spite with which Sam Hauser is playing, because from that point on, like it's been a pretty direct, like that point on, Sam Hauser has been awesome. Like it wasn't like, oh, a couple games before that and you were just still out. It was like almost immediately after.
I will take credit. Like,
yes,
I'm happy to motivate the guys. I'll do my job.
Since that game, he's 20 of 36. So he's just been a flamethrower, which has been super fun to watch. And like I said, he was a big reason that they were he was carrying this offense early in the game when they were pretty ice cold from 3.
Yeah, it's good to see him finding his rhythm again, because even though he's like a zombie back from the dead, he is a massively important part of their offense off the bench. The reason why I was so frustrated with what we were seeing from him is because he couldn't find any consistency, and it was coming during a stretch where the Celtics so desperately needed literally anybody to make a 3. For 2 months, nobody made any 3s. And that's his like only job on offense. It's like if he does nothing else and just shoots a bunch of 3s, everyone's like, nice, like good job. Anything else is foul money. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Hauser can only shoot 3s. We've seen him go off the dribble, get a little bit creative this season. And I think at times it's been really good. I don't think that is the problem at all. I'm happy he's doing it. The 3s have to go. I'm glad they're going again. He looks confident shooting them. He even had a heat check moment that he didn't make it, but he did have a heat check where he just pulled up in transition after starting the game 4 of 5 from 3. He said, watch this, missed it. Then next possession came down, made another one. good to see him back.
Yeah. And this night officially puts him back over the 40% from three mark on the season. He's been 40% from three every single year in the NBA. He's been 40% from three every single year in the G League, in college, and according to him in high school as well. So he's literally never shot below 40% from three in a season, which is ridiculous. Like that is
I might have saved the
next
streak.
level. Yeah.
Without me,
Next
he's
level.
shooting 35%.
Next level. KP was fine. Like I said, a couple good rim protection moments. It really feels like the double bigs look really good again tonight, man. Like I really like the double bigs look. Cornette was whatever, like he was fine, but Porzingis and Horford really worked. They talked about it on the broadcast a little. Like the biggest thing with a one big lineup is if that big contests at the rim, no one is there to get the rebound, or if a big stunts a drive, no one is there to, protect the rim behind them. With the double big, you have another big, like you have a second layer to that defense. And when the Celtics defense is as good at funneling as guys like Tatum and Derek White and Drew Holiday and Jaylen Brown, when they're healthy, or whoever it was tonight, are at like getting offensive players to go exactly where they want them to go and sort of controlling the motions, having Porzingis and Horford down there is pretty damn good. And you saw that again tonight. Porzingis had 2 blocks. Horford had 2 blocks. That's good. It's a good night.
Horford looked like 2018 Al Horford today. It was incredible. I was so
Nice.
happy to see it. Al Horford's probably like the most easy guy to root for on the Celtics right now. Not to say they don't have a bunch of likable guys, but he's just been around so long. Anytime he has a great game, it's really fun to watch. And he was aggressive today. He was confident shooting threes. Like, this might be the most confident Al Horford shooting game I think I've seen in quite some time. There was one where he even looked off it might have been Hauser to his right with a pass fake, got the defender to run away from him, and then stuck the three from the corner. The man had the brass balls on tonight. He was hitting the glass. He was defending Bam, which is no small feat either. Like, he was stripping him. Like you mentioned, he blocked him twice. He was just fully engaged today. If we can get that from Horford, in the playoffs, watch out. That's been like a big question this season where is Horford taking a step back? Is he not? Is he going to be ready for the playoffs? I don't think the two of us have questioned of whether or not he's going to be ready when the playoffs come around, but just like a little reminder once in a while, like, hey, I still have all this in the tank is pretty cool to see.
Yeah, shout it out, man. He's given us a few of those lately too. For a little while there, it looked like you might have just had to live with, okay, Horford's probably not the same player he once was. Maybe he'll give you a couple moments in the playoffs, and then it is what it is. Like this recent stretch, he had that 13 and 10 against Cleveland, and now in this one, he had 16 and 10. But outside of that, 5-point game, 3-point game, 4, 4, 4, 2, 3, 6. Like he has only scored double digits a handful of times this month. And so when you do see it, it's like, okay, we still got some juice left in the tank. And it's really, really nice. Derek White, like you mentioned, kind of shocking, only scored 13, but he had 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Good game for D White. Didn't really have to do too much. It's nice to see him sort of control the game a bit more. Those 7 assists, I feel like, are pretty indicative of just how much he had the ball in his hands and, was the marionette or the puppeteer, whatever you want to call it, of this offense. So shout out to him. Thought he had some good defensive pressure at times too, but that's just kind of what he does. So good overall game.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I blanked for a second.
Derek White.
You wrote me back in. Okay, thank you. It's just completely spaced. Yeah, like I said, when we first opened the box score, I was like, he only really had 13 points? Couldn't believe it, but he made really big ones. He had the buzzer beater at the end of the third quarter, of course, which was like a payback for the Bam buzzer beater at halftime off 1 foot over, I think, Tatum. Good for Derek. Again, not like his best offensive performance based on the box score, but I just felt like he was better than what the box score says. You mentioned the assists, absolutely good distributing game from him. And Derek's always going to be engaged on defense, even if he's not like pulling in no stocks tonight, but always an impactful player. He loves playing down there. He just loves playing in Miami.
He owns that building now. There was one point in this game too, going off the topic, because Kristaps was like hunched over, and I thought he got hurt again in Miami, and he didn't. He's fine, but like I looked at him like, no. I was like, it's the humidity. It's something wrong. Check the court. But KP's fine, and Derek White obviously had a big game.
They ought to be investigated. They should replace the D Wade statue with Derek White.
That D-Wade statue's so bad. It's so ugly. It is like disrespectful too, because he deserves a statue, but it's just awful. He
If
deserves one.
somehow the Celtics end up playing them in the playoffs again, we have to take a picture if we go down with the statue.
It wasn't there when I was there last year, I don't think. I
No,
don't know
it
if we
was
got
this
the
summer it
cans.
came out.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Before we move on, I do need to take a second to tell you guys about PrizePicks. Best place to get real money sports action. The big game is over, but basketball season is back, which I know we're all thrilled about. Very happy it's basketball time. Over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. Like I mentioned, it's basketball time. All-Star Weekend is almost here, and PrizePicks is the best place to win cash while watching your favorite players during the game and Saturday night events like the three-point contest. Who do you have in the three-point contest, Sam? Do you know who's in it? Have you seen the list?
Jalen Brunson is in it.
Jalen Brunson,
That's
Darius
as much as I
Garland.
know.
All right, hold up. Let me get the list for you. Jalen
Everybody's
Brunson's in
saying
it.
Brunson will jump into the ball racks.
Jalen Brunson's in it. Darius Garland's in it. Norm Powell's in it. Buddy Hield is in it. Damian Lillard's in it. Cam Johnson is in it. And I think that's it. I think I got them all. I might be missing one, but that's the gist. Norm Powell, I said, right? Yeah. So, of those, who you rocking with?
I think it'll be Dame. I think Dame has been traditionally
three-peat?
very good. He's won before. Yep.
Wow, we're gonna get a Dame three-peat. Tyler Hero and Cade Cunningham also in it. You want to back the Piston? I forgot.
Oh yeah, give me Cade.
There you go. Cade Cunningham. Regardless,
Oh,
check out PrizePicks. You can pick right there. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. So even if Cade doesn't get it, Sam could still get that bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best way to win real money this basketball season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long with PrizePicks. Like I've said millions of times before, Sam and I love PrizePicks. Use it on the pregame show when we're not out of money in the balance because we're not the best at PrizePicks. We try our best. We love PrizePicks. Us personally, just not very good at it. We need to reload soon and get that back up as a segment, though. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Like I said, download the app today, use code CLNS, and get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. Back to this game, Celtics Heat. As we were talking about, it's funny. We mentioned the Bam buzzer beater at the end of the half. Joe Mazzulla was really mad at Jayson Tatum's transition defense, and I felt very seen in that moment. I felt like I felt like not vindicated, but what's the word? Like everything that I have been saying.
You're just like, I'm right.
Yeah, so I'll play the clip. I posted it on Twitter. There's no sound. It's just like a picture of my computer screen. But Jayson Tatum, after missing a shot, or somebody missed a shot, goes to try to steal it from Bam. Yeah, tried to steal it from Bam instead of getting back. And Joe Mazzulla, as you can see in the corner of your screen here, if you're watching on YouTube, Joe Mazzulla is just screaming. He's just saying, get back, get back, get back. And he gets pissed. And then Bam eventually makes a ridiculous shot over KP, but whatever. But Joe Mazzulla just said after the game, like, no one's going to talk about that 7-0 run Miami made that in the second quarter. Like, that was bad. And he didn't talk about, like, transition, blah, 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 like, all that type of stuff. And like I said, very seen in that moment, knowing that Joe Mazzulla also doesn't like Tatum's transition defensive efforts at times.
I think the best of Joe Mazzulla is always when they win. And he's just like, well, this thing in the game pissed me off. That's when it's the most fun. It's not fun when he's like, well, we're not making threes. What do you want? It's when he's like, yeah, we won by 18 points, but did you see that?
Well, he was asked about it.
Shit
he was
stretch. Okay.
Yeah. He was asked about like what the message going into halftime after you see Bam that shot. I think Noah asked the question just for some added context because it was not given in the tweet that I saw before. And he was like, yeah, that's the stuff that can cost you more than what happens later in the game, which again is just a very Joe Mazzulla thing.
How long have we been talking about clutch situations in the random parts of the game? It's a very real thing.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Mazzulla talks about it all the time. It's the whole game matters, right? Like, it's not just the last 4 minutes, and that seems to be what everyone focuses on, and rightfully so. Like, it's understandable, but the whole game matters, and stretches like that can come back to bite you. But luckily, the Celtics, got their ass in the right place and figured it out from there. What else haven't we talked about from this game?
7 straight wins in Miami.
7 straight wins in Miami is good. Baylor Shireman got real minutes in this game.
Yes.
Played just over 10 minutes, including garbage time. I thought he looked really good. I was actually really pleased with how he looked. He didn't score. He checked in the game and immediately fired up a 3 in transition. I thought it was a good look. It looked confident, looked like it was going in. Like, that's what you want from guys like that. And above all, I thought his defense looked really good. Like, he was hustling. He forced a turnover in the first quarter. Played good pressure defense later on in the game. I obviously he's got work to do. Obviously, you know, he had a couple plays where he got a bit too overeager on defense. Like, he's far from perfect. But this is the type of progress you want to see, right? Like, if a guy is usually when you see a guy who's not the best on defense, it's a Duncan Robinson or an early years Sam Hauser where they're like dropping back, just trying to stay in front of him, whatever. Baylor Shireman is just like up and under everybody with the ball. He's like on your ass if you have the ball. And so I think that's a better place to start. So I was pleased. It wasn't too much, but I thought he looked really good in his limited minutes.
Jack, do you have any page of statistics of Baylor in front of you right now? Yes or no?
No,
Like,
I mean, I have the box
okay.
score to my left, but that's it.
Okay, that's fine. Would you like to guess his shooting splits on the season?
Awful. He doesn't make anything. He's probably like,
Like-
one of 18 from 3, 1 of 14 from 3. I don't know how many he's taken, but not good. Not good at all.
He is 17% from the field, 8% from 3.
Yeah. What is the
It was
total?
cool to see him play real minutes today, thoh. Seriously, it was. I like to joke, but it's
1
gonna
of
come with
14.
time.
That's one of my guesses. I was there.
Big 20 minutes of Jack feeling seen and being
Yeah.
right.
He looks good, man. Like, the shots will come, right? Like, we talk about it all the time. It's hard to have efficient shooting splits when you're never playing.
Yeah, he's
But
like,
to
it's
see
my
him-
one time to put the ball up. I gotta make it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But to see him be that effective on defense, I thought was a huge plus. And I thought the shots he did take were good shots. And so I thought he looked pretty good in his limited minutes. Nemi had an insane fucking dunk when he got in for 2 seconds late in the game. Other than that, though, I mean, we talked about Pritchard briefly. He didn't shoot the ball well, but 10 and 8, 10 rebounds, 8 assists is ridiculous. He was fun to watch in this one. Baylor Shireman stole a rebound from him late in the game, but he already had his 10, so it was okay. I don't know how much else there was to talk about.
Torrey Craig. Torrey Craig is going to make his presence known whether he plays or does not play. That man, and you have to think about it like this, Jack. Torrey Craig is someone who does not know these gentlemen very well. He's very new to the
Yeah.
team. He is out there, biggest cheerleader ever, supporting the boys. He's got the John Cena jorts on the bench. He is leading the bench mob. This may have been the biggest possible signing the Celtics could have made. This was an oversight by us when we did the Torrey Craig videos. He had an excellent performance for somebody in street clothes today. He was hyping everybody up. He might have been part of the reason the game turned around when they were cold.
Listen, man, I am team nobody is allowed to wear jorts but John Cena. Add Torrey Craig to the list. He
Torrey
rocks that
Craig,
shit.
yeah.
He can be added. Add him to the bottom. It's valid, allowed, approval, stamped. There was something else I was going to bring up, but I don't remember what it was. I think Torrey Craig bench. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's about it. I'll probably remember it right after we finish recording. But that's okay. We'll throw it to the rest of the show. All right. Welcome back. We're back, and let's do some emails. Reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. We have a bunch of emails to get through because, well, we haven't done the emails in a long time because we didn't do a full show this Saturday, and oh boy, it's going to be a long show. So first one, Paulo responding to himself after we talked about his Mavs KD idea. Well, I guess this didn't age well. I'll just say this: in the morning, I woke up on ESPN, saw the title Lakers move for Hornet center Williams. My eyes still tired, connected Lakers and Williams, and I almost got a stroke. Ciao, Paolo. Obviously, it didn't work out because he had Butler going to Phoenix in the deal, and well, Butler went to Golden State. But yes, thank you, Paolo. Next one, RJ says trade deadline fringe questions from a few days ago. Even folks are early trade deadline morning. Take your pick. Couple of fringe questions about trade deadline for the Celtics. Is Josh Richardson's heel injury a real thing, or is he just is just his version of Al's big left toe? Any chance he can come back to Boston on a buyout? Is Drew shoulder his own Al's big left toe? With Springer gone, do the Celtics spring up J.D. Davison more to see if his main performance translates to the NBA? Will the serious Celtics show up for the trade deadline Mavs? Be well, RJ. No, they didn't show up for the Mavs. I don't know about Josh. I don't know about Josh Richardson's heel injury. They got Torrey Craig though, so I assume they might be out on Josh. Drew, I would say yes, it is Al's left toe, and then I wouldn't mind seeing some more J.D. Davison, but we'll see.
I do not think the Drew shoulder thing is a left toe thing. I think he actually has a shoulder thing going on. I was walking back through the Garden probably a month or so ago between the Joe Mazzulla press conference and the visiting coach press conference, and Drew was wrapping his workout, and he was clearly like having discomfort in his shoulder. Like as I was behind him, he was literally like going like this, like trying to loosen it up. So maybe he was only having it during that time, but I think it's a real thing. I don't think they would have sat him out for the Knicks game if they were just screwing around and being like, we just want to rest him. I think that's a game that they would have played him for. So I think the shoulder thing is very real for Drew. I mean, maybe you're going to see a little more JD, but I just feel like he's the type of player that isn't going to be very good in spots. Like he's not somebody you can put in the game and get like a unique energy from. I think he's probably similar to Pritchard in his offensive skill set, at least a little bit. That's where he's going to excel. So I'd rather just see Pritchard. Well, this Celtics did not show up, as Jack said.
No, certainly not. Thank you, RJ. Next one from Paulo again. Final standings predictions from a few days ago. Hi, guys. Starting to look at the trend of the East, standing to the East. Seems an interesting final position line. Is in line for the Celtics. Let's say the first five seem quite safe. Cavs, Celtics, Knicks, Indy, Bucks, or Bucks, Indy. For me, Orlando will recoup the second place, even if they had a horrendous January, maybe also due to Banchero being a bit rusty from injury. Then I would say Detroit 7. Expect the Sixers to be gasp up into 8th place, facing the Sixers, even with all their problems, and potentially the Bucks doesn't seem to be a cakewalk for the Cavs. While our path will cross Detroit and the Knicks. I respect New York, but I think Orlando has the means to make them work, and they could be completely worn out by Tibbs' extreme management. There's no easy path, but I don't mind this one. What do you think, Ciao, Paulo? I think it's so hard to guess what the standings will be right now. I don't think it's impossible the Celtics take the 1 seed. I don't think it's impossible that the Pistons stay in 6. I don't think it's impossible that the Sixers miss the play-in altogether. So I just think it's really hard to like gauge right now. I think the easiest path forward for the Celtics is it's almost irrelevant because I think they're going to have to play the Cavs or the Knicks at some point.
Well, the Knicks
regardless.
would be an easy path.
Sure,
they beat
but
them by $1 billion twice this year.
In terms of the hardest teams to play, I think it's Cleveland, New York, Indy, Milwaukee, and you're going to have to play at least probably 2 of those teams in the playoffs anyways. So I don't know how much it matters. I think the path you lined out was all right, Paolo, but it's tough because everything is just so jam-packed and we're still like months away from the finals.
So one thing is for sure, prediction, not prediction, it's a given. The next 2 months are going to be absolutely crazy in the Eastern Conference. There's going to be a lot of moving pieces. Like you said, Jack, it's really difficult to tell who's going to be at the top, or at least who's going to be in the middle of the top. I guess the Celtics and Cavs feel like they're going to be towards the top. Things could still happen to shift that around, but that 3 through 8 range could move drastically. We're going to talk about it later in the show, but Giannis got hurt yesterday or over the weekend, and now that's going to affect Milwaukee, and sliding past 5 is a real possibility for them. Saw somebody on Twitter say it's not out of the question that they could be 7 or 8 when the play-in rolls around, so that could affect the Celtics in the first round. It's a lot to digest, a lot to see. Going to be a very exciting couple months of ball, though, for sure.
Yes, sir. Let's jump to the next email. Thank you, Paolo. Okay, this is spam email. Cool. Thanks, Jake. Philip says hindsight. Fellows, what a crazy and fun deadline. In hindsight, what do you think the most relevant trade deadline moves for the Celtics? My feeling is Hunter the Cavs. Most consequential. Maybe all the Bucks moves add up to something best, Philip. I think you hit it on the head. I think Hunter the Cavs is probably the most consequential. I think the Bucks could be interesting if it works out. At the very least, they have a player who can like play real minutes now, ideally. So that's good for them. But Hunter to the Cavs is the one I see as the most like directly aimed at Boston.
Yeah, it's the team that is competing with you at the top of the conference, trying to patch a hole of weakness where they didn't have anybody at the forward spot that could play a fair amount of both sides of the ball. I wouldn't say Hunter's like a stopper. You don't put him on Tatum and all of a sudden Tatum's erased or anything, but he's a more capable defender than someone like Georges Niang, even though Niang is a motherfucker. That dude tries his ass off. He's a pest. But he doesn't really have like the sort of athleticism required to keep up with the stars. And then also Okoro does, but then he kind of doesn't have the offensive game to make him not a weakness on that side of the floor. So this is kind of giving them the ability to have lineups out there that don't have a weak point per se on either side of the ball, which is good.
Exactly. Next one, Isaac. Isaac asks, do you guys have any relationship advice?
I like how it gives you
Ugh.
3 like responses.
Not that I
Like,
can think
not
of,
that I
not
can
really,
think
or
of.
yeah, I do. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't got anything for you, Isaac. Sam, do you got anything? I don't got anything. I'm sorry.
I think this might require specifics to give you like legitimately good advice. But what I have like a few things. One, I think communication is very important. I think having a consistent thread of just knowing what's going on, what the expectations are, kind of checking in with each other to see if anything is off is important because if somebody's like holding in something, it kind of becomes bigger and bigger inside and they get more frustrated. So you want to avoid that. You also want to love yourself. Don't worry about, if the other person is there or not. You need to be able to be happy. So you need to have things in your life outside of them to be like, yes, I can't wait to do this thing because that will still be there no matter what. And also, just doing nice things for no reason is a good idea. Like random flowers, random day, no occasion. They appreciate that.
There you go. Good advice. Sorry, Isaac. I if I had advice, I'd be using it myself. So I don't have much for you, but appreciate you. So that was good advice from Sam. Next one. Again, more SEO spam email. Thanks. RJ says things that bug me. Morning, folks. The Dallas Road Muffin by the starters. And Friday morning's
What the
episode
hell
helped
does
me
that
put
even
up.
mean?
I don't know.
That's fire.
Dallas
I like
Road
that.
Muffin. And Friday's morning episode helped me put my thumb on what been bugging me about this year's squad. Be warned, it's long and ranty. All right, let me clear my throat. First, is this notion that missing layups makes it harder to defend? Okay, I'll grant you that. Now, what strategies does the team put in place to address that difficulty? How do you set up your defense differently after a miss to improve your chances of slowing down the opposition? Those changes take place at strategic and tactical levels, i.e., coaching, along with how well players execute those changes. Okay, let's go one by one because these are big things. Unfortunately, RJ, I think the answer is just don't miss layups. Like, and it sucks, but like, just don't miss layups. Like,
Do
when
layup
you're
lines before the
making,
game.
yeah, when you're making your layups, you don't have to set up tactics to what happens when we miss a layup because it's a fucking layup, and it's frustrating because the answer is something that is like technically not controllable because like it you know what I'm saying? Like you can completely control how much you try at any given time for the most part, but like sometimes it'll just roll off the rim. But just make your layups. Like that. It's just really that simple. You just have to make your layups. Am I wrong? Like is that? I don't know. I
No,
don't know how
make
much.
them.
Yeah.
Or, like, be more selective, even though I think they should
Yeah.
be not more aggressive, but I think they should pass out of less layup attempts than they do. Maybe force less of them. Maybe, like, just make better reads in the lane. I know it's hard. It's a very sped up, like, part of the game. It's not easy to just be like, "Oh, I'll make the obvious right decision every time." It just doesn't happen. But at the same time, like, if you are making yourself take more difficult through traffic layup attempts, you are more likely to. Just a question of whether or not you've got the personnel to be taking those shots, I think. And you
Yeah.
should.
Just make your layups. Just make your layups. Second are answers that boil down to player X got hot / what can you do after recent losses. Fun fact, 2 of the most opponent on a heater games at the Garden, Jordan's 69 in the 80s and Devin Booker's 70 piece in 2017, both resulted in the visitor losing. Again, every game is a different story, a different path to victory. I don't mind not finding that path. I do mind if the team kind of shrugs and goes, couldn't help it. Yeah.
The Booker 70 was fake for what it's worth, but go on.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were
I mean,
like
that's what you're
literally
saying.
fouling him at the end of the Celtics were fouling him on purpose so he could shoot more.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, I mean, we talked about it with the defense. Like, I don't like the let a guy shoot defense. I think they played pretty good defense on Klay Thompson when he had 20 in the first quarter. And like, I get it's frustrating. Like after, like, do you think they played good defense on Klay Thompson? I think they did a pretty all right job. Sam Hauser got cooked a few times, but then they switched it up and changed
I
it.
think they had a really, and they've had this problem all season, had a really hard time navigating the screens. And Clay was
Yes,
running off screens off the ball, and it was putting them in hell.
I agree with that.
So that's one area I would be like, figure this out because, I mean, I've brought this up recently. How many times do we go back and watch like the shots guys get at the lapses, and it's like, oh, they got hit with a screen, and then all of a sudden their
Mhm.
brain fell out of their ears.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think they need to do a better job on defense for sure. I think they need to narrow down their offensive focuses for sure. Um, and it's definitely happened too often that player X got hot. Excuse. Lastly, is the effort playing with force / giving a damn question. I don't know when the quote first home game back from a road trip is a tough one idea popped up, but it's as annoying to me as not gearing up to play well against diminished teams. A professional in any job shows up and hits their marks to the best of their ability. If some nights that means more frequent rest to help refocus or cranking up defensive and rebounding efforts when a shot isn't falling for your changing your shoes, whatever, you try it. And if it means you need a night off, take it on the bench and on the court. By the time you see this, the next game will be over and the Celtics will have won in convincing style. Yes. Unless, of course, they miss layups. OG Anunoby makes 6 threes and they're tired from a long road trip. Well, OG didn't play, so that helps. Be well, RJ, who is frustrated about a lot of things right now.
I
I
love
get the
that.
frustration. I get it, man. But listen,
RJ
RJ,
knew he had the
it's a
crystal
long
ball.
season. It's a long season. You can't get worked up. And it's hard because they're not playing at the level they were last year, but they're 20 games above 500 right now. They're 37-16 or 10 games, however you want to phrase it. I just add.
What really had
doing a pretty
him
good job.
knowing was Celtics grimace. He knew they were shooing for a blowout.
I still don't get the grimace lore. I appreciate the jokes and it entertains me. I do not understand
You
it, even
don't
like in the
get what part
smallest
of it.
any of it. I don't get the lore at all. I don't
Well,
understand it.
so they had Grimace. The Mets had Grimace throw to first pitch in June, and the
Okay.
Mets to that point of
Like
their season were terrible,
the
underperforming.
actual grimace mascot, like the purple
Actual Grimace. Like they trotted Grimace out there, he threw out the
Okay.
first pitch, and then all of a sudden the Mets go on this huge run. Like they made it to the NLCS. You know, you were in on the Mets when the playoffs were happening. You were rooting for them.
Yeah.
So they like embraced Grimace. Like people were going to games dressed up as Grimace. There were Grimaces on the subways in New York. Like he became like a New York sports icon.
Thank you, RJ. All right. Next email, RJ, again, a fan's request. Afternoon, folks. A follow-up to my rant. I don't expect the Celtics to win every game. I don't even expect them to play like all-stars every night or bench all-stars. But as a fan, I do expect right from whoever is on the court at any given time. I don't care if it's the Jays or your favorite Latvian, Luke, Drew, Walshy. You're stepping between the lines. Pay attention. Play with the best effort you have that night. If you win, great. If you lose, play by the proper mindset. I'll keep cheering you on. Same goes for coaches. Learn the difference between it's not working yet and it's not working tonight. Whether that's a strategy or a player, honor the game for the full 48. That's all I ask. Be well, RJ, who's been rooting and ranting about the Celtics for 50 years. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. There's some nights where it just looks like they don't care and it's frustrating. And that's like the one thing that can't be acceptable. Like it's inevitably going to happen, but even though it's inevitable, it's still like not acceptable. Like there's both can be true. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. They didn't show up against the Mavs, and they showed up against the Knicks. So I guess they earned people's respect back again briefly. And
They
it's
sure did.
good one when you get to win in the lower garden.
Yes, the one with no banners, and the one that they
Exactly.
you saw the Grandy tweet where it was like they win 68% of their games there,
Yes, I
anyways.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah, that rocks. That's a good tweet. Last email from Lawson Cole. G'day, mates. Been listening for years. Love your show. Have a lot.
Thank you.
I live in the same town where the Illawarra Hawks play. Wollongong, New South Wales, Australia. Been a loyal fan of the normally woeful Hawks for as long as I can remember. And as you may know, it's the team our boy Jayson Tatum's dad is the coach of. Just want to update you on the job Justin Tatum has done. Excuse me. The Illawarra Hawks were the perpetual cellar dwellers of the competition, excuse me, only ever winning one championship in 2000, also being thrown out of the competition twice in the past 20 years. Since Tatum has taken over last season, he has transformed the club into the league's best offense. And just this week, the Hawks have wrapped their first ever minor premiership, which is first overall when the regular season ends, as well as Tatum winning Coach of the Year. The Hawks are now favorites to win the NBL championship and to raise banner 2 to the rafters of the Wollongong Entertainment Center. Maybe Boston can send over some duck boats for the parade. Surely this is the first time an NBA and NBL championship for the same family in the same year. Very proud of what he has done here, and super cool to have the Celtics connection down here in Wollongong. Apologies for pronouncing that incorrectly. Have a good one, fellas. Keep you updated, Lawson. Very cool. Yeah, very cool. I've seen all the stuff about him winning Coach of the Year, and it's very dope that he can go in and transform the program like that.
Reading Banner 2 is funny.
Yeah,
it's just so different from what we're used to, but that's pretty cool. I'm always like semi-interested in what's going on in these other like international leagues because we don't really hear about it as much. Like it looks like the NBL has like really good fans that turn out and enjoy these games and are really rowdy and have good crowds. I'm happy that your team is finally out of the basement. Think everybody deserves that except Knicks fans every once in a while. So I hope they have a great playoff run.
Yes, sir. I believe. Okay, no, we have Twitter DM from Mark that we wanted to get to as well. Mark, right, or I don't know if it's there. Margaret says, I wanted to ask why the players never did a speech in front of all the fans after the parade last year. After seeing the iconic Bucks and Raptors ones in the past and the Nuggets, I was pretty disappointed in no speech. Maybe we get one this June? ? I don't know. I wish I had an answer for you. I don't know why they didn't do speeches and stuff like that. I know in the past they would go to City Hall like after the parade, and I know the Pats did speeches there before. I don't know why the Celtics didn't do a speech after the parade though. Like I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it the way they did. Like they didn't not speak. They had Scal do a Q&A with the players inside the garden beforehand. Like Jack, Noah, and I were all invited to that, as well as other members of the media and like season ticket holders, I think, were in there too. There was like one whole side of the arena full of people, family members, and they had like a nice little celebration in there, but it wasn't public. It wasn't like for a crowd, you're right. And it was kind of odd. If you want to see any of that, I'm sure it's on Twitter, but also I did the vlog for the channel. And if there's not like sound of it, there's at least footage so you can see what it was like. So check that out. But I don't know the exact answer to that.
The speculatory reasons I'm finding on like Twitter and the internet and Reddit and stuff is they just did it before, so they weren't super drunk when they said it, and they said stuff, which makes sense. And also, someone is like, I wonder if that had anything to do with what happened at the Chiefs parade. So just clearing everybody out as soon as possible. Chiefs parade, someone brought a gun. Sam, I don't.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, someone had an armed.
Oh, they don't have to worry about that this year.
Yeah, nobody in Chiefs. Philadelphia. Good luck. All right, let's go to the NBA standings check-in. Thank you for the emails. We appreciate you very much. Let's see what the standings are looking like. Spoiler alert, it's been the same for the past month. Cavs in first place, Celtics in second place, Knicks in third place. Celtics get a bigger gap on the Knicks because they won. Celtics 5.5 games behind the Cavs and 2.5 games up on the Knicks now. Then you got the Pacers, Bucks, Pistons. Pacers a game ahead of the Bucks. Bucks 2 games ahead of the Pistons in 6. Pistons half a game ahead of the start of the play-in, which is the Heat right now. Heat, Magic, Hawks, Bulls filling out that play-in group. Sixers still a game and a half out of the final play-in spot. And then you got the Nets, Raptors, Hornets, Wizards falling in right behind them.
Sixers losers of 3 straight, despite Embiid being back. What a time this is. They lost to Milwaukee yesterday for Hubie Brown's last ever call. Congratulations to Hubie on a great career. Legend. But yeah, Daryl Morey was like, I think we're gonna get out. We're gonna make a playoff run. You gotta get there, brother. You gotta get yourself at least in the play-in first. I know it's not like the tallest of all tasks to overtake the selling Chicago Bulls, who offloaded Levine at the deadline and basically got no immediate help back. But you got to at least win games. You have to do your job. Like the Bulls are losing. They've lost 2 straight. Sixers cannot get out of their own way in this regard. Also, it's nice to see that distance between the Celtics and we'll even just say 4 continue to just balloon. They've done a really good job at separating themselves from the pack. The win in New York was massive on Saturday because that would have kind of put more pressure on Boston immediately, with the Knicks only being a half game back. The 2 teams would have been tied in the loss column had the result gone the other way. They just can't do anything to make up ground on the Cavs. Don't know if it's going to happen. I'm starting to lose hope. They had a chance on Thursday to kind of build on the momentum they'd created beating Cleveland in Cleveland on Tuesday, and they just didn't do it. Happy to see the Pistons two-game win streak. Keep chugging along, fellas.
Yeah, it's tough. The Cavs are, I mean, they're winning at such a high level. It's going to be hard to catch them. So we'll see. But next is Western Conference. Looking ahead to that, Thunder 42-9, top of the West, 7.5 games up on the Grizzlies. Nuggets have overtaken the Rockets for third place in the West. They're a game up on the 33-20 Rockets. Nuggets are 34-19. Then you got the Lakers and Timberwolves filling that in. Clippers are only half a game behind the Timberwolves in 7th place. Clippers, Mavs, Kings, Suns is the play-in right now. But the Kings, Suns, and Warriors are all tied at 26 and 26 in 9, 10, 11. Spurs outside looking in at 12. Blazers are only half game back on the Spurs at this point, and then you got the Jazz and Pelicans all the way at the bottom.
Yeah, the Lakers are unfortunately looking like they might string something together and at least like get away from the play-in. I feel like the Lakers have been a mainstay there, like just like Miami has been in the East. This year, they've got Luka now. I mean, we can talk about the rest of the stuff as well because we are going to move on to that after this. They had their Mark Williams trade fall through. He failed the physical, so I'm not sure how sustainable the winning pace is going to be, but with all things considered, they've been without Anthony Davis for the majority of this stretch. They've played well without him. They've played well without with Jackson Hayes as the starting center. They're going to get Luka back, I think, tonight when they play Utah. And I mean, listen, Utah should not be the team that they lose to here. So by the time you're hearing this, they might be winners of 6 straight. I don't know what I think of them as contenders next to the rest of these top teams out west, but I think they're going to continue to win basketball games, which is less fun for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, for as much as I think Luka's not a good defender, we've seen that he can carry a team to a finals run. So having him on the roster gives them a pretty automatic chance of, okay, yeah, they could probably make a run in the playoffs. And if the Lakers around him are playing well, that chance only increases. And Austin Reeves looks awesome right now. And if Austin Reeves and Luka carry the load, LeBron doesn't have to do as much. And if LeBron doesn't have to do as much, he can focus on the things that he's really great at. And that makes it all like all of it seems to be coming together really well for the Lakers so far this season, especially post AD trade. But we can go to what you mentioned, Mark Williams trade. Lakers traded Dalton Connect, Cam Reddish, and a first and something else for Mark Williams, but it fell through. Reports indicate that Mark Williams didn't pass his physical that the Lakers conducted. There was some weirdness surrounding it. Now Mark Williams is back with the Hornets. The Hornets had to post a message welcoming him back to the organization, which was funny. And yeah, since it fell through post trade deadline, they couldn't amend the trade and add more picks and stuff like the Mavs did with the Caleb Martin deal. But yeah, Mark Williams will no longer be a Laker. The Lakers are getting Dalton Connect back. They're getting Cam Reddish back. They're getting their picks back, and the Hornets get Mark Williams back.
I'm sure everybody's going to be thrilled. Nobody's feelings will be hurt at all.
For sure.
I feel like this is a little bit different than like not to say Mark Williams is a bad player because he's not. When the trade happened, we were all like, smart move. They needed a center. That's a guy that's been solid. But like if you're Dalton Connect, you can't be thrilled about that. I forgot Cam Reddish was even in the league anymore. I forgot he was on the Lakers. So there's that. And I wonder what's wrong with Mark Williams because he has just I mean, if this is so bad that they're sending him back, it's going to be something pretty bad.
And the worst part is they said it wasn't his like knee or ankle or whatever like his common injured thing is. Like they said it had nothing to do with that. Like it is just like
Yeah, that's
I think he's
then.
just
He
I think
might
he's
have
just cooked.
health problems.
Yeah, I think he's just cooked. I think he's probably got like significant back issues or significant something issues or I don't know. But regardless, feelings might be hurt, but at the same time, like if you're Dalton Connect, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna sit there and like piss and moan about it? No, you're just gonna go back and play basketball. Like there's nothing else you can do. So
He
as
should
much
blow
as
them up from within.
as much as feelings might be hurt, like I don't think this is actually going to cause any serious problems. Like maybe they just trade him this summer if he's really mad, but like in the short term, they'll just keep playing Dalton Connect. They'll keep developing Dalton Connect, and if you're Dalton Connect, a rookie, like whatever, like shit happens. They needed a center. They still need a center, and you were the piece that they were going to trade for a center. And yes, it is. I mean, I think you just keep moving on, and maybe if you're still frustrated this summer, you ask for a trade then. But oh, what are you gonna do, right? Like it is what
He
it
should
is.
start spreading rumors in the locker room. Like tell Luka that people are saying he's fat within the team. And tell LeBron that people are starting to say it's Luka's team.
I don't know. Anyways, next thing, the other trade that the Hornets made, Jusuf Nurkic for Cody Martin and Vasiljevic in a second, is also up in smoke at this point
Out for the
because
Hornets. Can't catch
Cody
a break.
Martin's not healthy, and so the Suns are like, okay, well, if he's not healthy, like we want our pick back because we don't have much to trade, and the Hornets are a disaster, man. What a fucking terrible decision.
Just trading dudes out that are damaged goods, being like, yeah, you can have them. Good price.
Here you go.
We'll even take Nurkic back. And the Suns are like, what the hell? There's also a part of this that's like, Charlotte is doing Phoenix a favor by taking Nurkic. Like that is the big move in this trade. Not to say Martin is nothing, because he's somebody that will probably give them more depth, which Phoenix desperately needs with how poorly their team was constructed. But to be like, what's in it for us? What's in it for you? Is you get rid of the guy that you benched on purpose because you don't want him to play anymore.
Yeah, but they also gave a first-round pick, and so they don't want to.
But that's partly for compensating them for taking Nurkic.
Yes, but if you're the Suns, I would rather deal with having Nurkic on the roster and also have a pick and that flexibility to make trades this summer with than hernia Cody Martin, Vasiljevic in a second. You know what I'm saying? Like that just doesn't make any sense. If he's not going to play for you this season, like I want my pick back, and I'm just going to make a trade with it this summer.
It takes that long to recover from a hernia.
Yeah.
Oof.
It depends on the severity, but that's I guess the whole point. Anyways, next thing, Mark Cuban apparently tried to block the Luka Doncic trade. So this is from Mark Stein, who did a bunch of details about this whole saga. Everyone should go read it. He said by the time Cuban found out about the Luka for AD trade, it was too late. Dumont never approached for advice. That's the owner. Sources say Cuban urged Harrison not to go ahead with the swap, only to find out that the deal had already been sealed with the Lakers by verbal handshake. It was largely Harrison who has increasingly believed since the Mavericks one-sided loss to the Celtics in the finals that Doncic would not improve his commitment to conditioning, his off-court dietary discipline, would not improve as a leader or a culture setter, would not improve his well-chronicled comportment issues with referees, would not be able to stay healthy as he got older, and thus could not, after the Mavericks and Doncic grappled with the issues since Harrison arrived, be given the 5-year Supermax deal. So Cuban basically was like, please, God, don't do this, and it was too late by the time he figured it out. Mavs owner also put out something like all the greatest players in NBA history, LeBron, Kobe, Kareem, all had a commitment to winning and working hard. If you can't do that, we don't want you to be a part of the Mavericks organization. Very subtle.
And Shaq was on there.
Yeah. I mean, just what a crazy situation that has unfolded before our eyes.
Like, I don't think all this Luka stuff is nothing, but at the same time, you just kind of eat it. Like, you just kind of bitch about. That's like the kind of thing you just bitch about when your team loses. You don't like trade them. You know,
agree.
That's for us to complain about. The people with the microphones. You as the people running the team. You don't have to act drastically on it. We'll just be like, what if Luka was in better shape? Then maybe the Mavs could compete. You didn't need to hit the button and actually trade him. That is just. How many times can we say it's crazy? But it's asinine that they would even do this. There's no guarantee they ever get anybody as good as Luka to play for their team ever again.
Yeah, it's crazy. Also part of this Luka trade. So I just see this now from Dave McMenamin. What is clear is that Doncic will have a say, and it wasn't lost on James' camp. Sources say that Pelinka prioritized Doncic's involvement upon his arrival and immediately engaged in the Mark Williams trade that he'd asked for when James had for years wanted the team to trade his picks to improve the roster. So this Luka trade is it's going to create just a world of content for everybody.
I mean, not for nothing. With this like Mark Williams trade, the only reason why they were about to do a Mark Williams trade, I don't really feel like it was because of Luka. It was because
Luka went in and asked for a lob threat. Like he went in, asked for a lob threat, asked for a defensive center to play with. Like he's very specifically asked, I want this type of center, go get this. And they said, okay.
I think even if that happened, right? Like I'm not disputing didn't happen. The main reason why the Lakers front office would have went and did that is because they no longer have that. They don't have that anymore. True. Anthony Davis was that. And so LeBron's like, I really want a guy to do these things. And they're like, he's right there. Look at him. And his dreads and his tight t-shirts that make his muscles look big.
Yes, and I'm not arguing that what's LeBron saying is true because Luka is younger, right? Like there's a very clear benefit to do what Luka like asks you for the future of the organization rather than selling your future for LeBron, right? 100%. That is
Correct.
that makes what he's asking ridiculous. But I don't think what LeBron is arguing is you didn't get a center. I think it is I've asked you to improve this roster time and time again, and you didn't. And Luka asked you for one thing one time, and you do it. And so, like, that's why he's frustrated, not because he didn't get a center when he asked him. Like, I think LeBron just wanted to improve the roster in any way. And then they consulted Luka, like, "Hey, what do you want?" And Luka was like this, and they're like, "Okay." That said, Luka's 25. LeBron, like, come on, man. Like, let's have some realism. Like, let's be realistic with our expectations.
Wouldn't it be great if LeBron got jealous?
I mean, he's probably already jealous, but I mean, winning cures all. So when they've won 6 in a row, by the time you hear this, they'll probably be okay.
Well, Luka hasn't played. What if the
True.
like the ball distribution?
It would
doesn't
be
work?
really funny if they stopped winning when Luka came back. That'd be
Yeah.
really funny. We'll see.
If it wasn't Utah today, I'd be like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they like fall flat just because there's like growing pains with this kind of thing.
Yeah,
usually.
Utah sucks though.
But Utah's really bad.
Speaking of the Luka trade, Anthony Davis is already hurt, out
Mhm.
indefinitely or for multiple weeks with an adductor strain. Giannis also hurt, going to be out for about a month now, with a calf issue, and that means Trae Young is an all-star replacement for Giannis. Don't
Who's
know who's going to be
replacing
all-star. We don't know yet.
You don't know. I thought they had said. I just
But yeah,
couldn't find it.
2 injuries. Yes, 2 injuries.
So the interesting thing about this, obviously, like this sucks for Dallas. Like worst case scenario with AD, and I think it might have been Bobby who I was talking to, or Jake, or maybe it was a commenter. And if it was a commenter, don't let me take your credit away because it's a great point. They said they're not sure if this AD re-injury happens if he isn't traded because the Lakers don't necessarily have like a pressure to bring him back. But if you're Dallas and you have a literal fake funeral going on outside your arena and they're chanting that Luka's not fat, get him back, and like the massive protest of the trade that's happening before Saturday's game against Houston, it's almost like you have to be like, well, like that's damage control to be like, look, he's here. Like, don't worry too much. This guy's still pretty good. And he was good until he hurt his abdomen again. That now he's out for at least a month. I think they said he's going to be reevaluated in a month. That's tough. What does that mean for Dallas in the standings? It probably isn't very good considering that Western Conference has always been a bloodbath and that move with AD was going to be the thing that kept them afloat. Also, you could say the same thing in the East, like Giannis with the calf thing. Not for nothing, I'm pretty sure this is the same calf that he irritated in the playoffs last year. I'm not entirely sure if the muscle repetitive injuries are as important or as risky as structural damage to like your knee, the same knee having problems. I don't think it's as significant. But now you're going to have to deal with. I mean, we saw Kristaps in the playoffs last year, Jack. It took a month and a half, 2 months for him to get back on the court. Giannis missed the entire first round last year with the same thing. This could hinder them from finishing towards the top of the East where they're fighting in the play-in. Like, can you imagine a situation where it's Philly and Milwaukee playing a play-in game?
Yeah, I mean, they do have a pretty good. I guess it's only 2.5 up on the Heat, so there's a chance they fall into the play-in. I don't think they'd fall out of the playoffs completely. Like that's too big of a gap. So,
Oh yeah, they won't catch Philly. Like they won't fall that far. I don't think.
Yeah, no. It'll just depend on how well the rest of the team can do carrying the load. And I think, ironically, trading for Kuzma helps that a little bit because at least you have a guy who can play a lot of minutes.
Correct.
But yeah, it's definitely not ideal for where they want to be at right now. So we'll see what happens. As far as the AD injury replacement, should probably just be Sabonis. Should have probably been an all-star before all this. He's averaging 20, 14, and 6 on 60% from the field and 46% from 3. Should have probably been an all-star with those numbers. But yeah, I mean, I think that's just the most obvious replacement for AD that I can think of. I mean, he's been all-NBA. He was an all-NBA third-team player last year and wasn't an all-star. So that's usually a good indicator as to who should be an all-star when they weren't. Regardless.
It would be funny if they were just like, Luka, you're in.
That would be funny. Anyway, they could do Kyrie too. Kyrie deserves being All-Star. He's been really good this year. So either way,
Has he played enough?
I think so. Let me look.
Because I think that's why Luka didn't get in.
Kyrie's played 42 games. So
yeah, that's plenty.
Yeah, Luka's played 22. Yeah. All right, next thing, Joel Embiid might have to have another surgery because shocker, the world's round. Embiid, Lisa Salters said as much on her sideline report during her game recently. Basically that Embiid's not doing well. You listen to this. What happened? Explain.
So yeah, Lisa Salters was explaining during the broadcast yesterday during the Sixers-Bucks game, which Milwaukee won, that Embiid said he thinks he's going to need another knee surgery over the summer to his right knee. He needs to get right, in quotations, is how I saw this presented. So this guy, he may be cooked. This is just not the kind of thing that
It's
gets better
hard,
for
dude.
big dudes. He's
It's
like
tough.
300 pounds for the right reasons. Like, I don't think he's necessarily out of shape. He's just a massive human being. And that's a lot for your body to have to deal with on a night to night basis. You're changing directions up and down, landing on it. I mean, that's part of the reason why he falls down so much as people get pissed off about it. It's to protect his, joints and everything from having to deal with all the pressure that comes with the landing. He might be cooked. And this is just another example of, oh man, now Philly's going to be looking at their books and they have this guy who can't seem to stay healthy for an extended period of time. You're probably going to see more and more players like Embiid just get the shaft when it comes to contract negotiations down the line, because teams aren't going to want to spend their money on this and go into the tax on this and have to have different restrictions, apron restrictions, where they can't make trades, or God forbid, if it's years and years in a row, they have their pick go to the end of the first round. Like that's a lot to deal with for a guy that's not even on the court.
Yeah, it's tough, man. He just can't stay healthy, and it's not really his fault. Like when you have a body like that and you put as much pressure on it as you do as Embiid, like shit happens, right? Like you want to talk about injury prone, he's clearly injury prone. His body's not built to play this sport at this high level for this long. Like it sucks. And when he's on the court and when he's healthy, he's probably one of the best players of the last decade. And the reason he's not going to be viewed as that is because he can't stay healthy and he's never been on the court to stay healthy.
There's also part of this, which I've said before, I'm sure Philly fans are irate about it. If you're dealing with a significant problem injury-wise, you should not be playing extra games in the Olympics during the summer. You just shouldn't. You shouldn't be going through other practice. You shouldn't be putting that on your body. If you need to get your body right, you should get your body right. You shouldn't be trying to play extra games. If you can't play for the Sixers, you shouldn't be playing for Team USA.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's just brutal for Embiid. He can't stay on the court. Anyways, Ratless, Sam, what do you got?
Rat list is men's leagues having multiple playoff games on the same day. So yesterday I had my men's league playoffs before the Super Bowl. Our team won the first game. We played pretty well. We won pretty handedly, and it was an impressive performance from us. We only had 5 players. We had 5 guys. We played the whole game, and then we had to wait an hour to play our second game against a better team. Did not go well. We were in like the first 5 minutes of the game. I think we all kind of realized, not that we didn't fight, because we did fight. Everybody defended. We just didn't have the legs. The offense wasn't there. I was terrible again. I didn't make shots. I was fine in the first game, but didn't have the legs to make shots in the second game. And I do not know how leagues get away with just making you play multiple games in a playoff situation, because they did it to us when we were in the league together. They had it in the same night. It was like, and if we won, we would play a third game.
Mm-hmm. Did the team you played?
I played 80 minutes of basketball yesterday. I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I had to drink. I brought 7 waters in my basketball. I drank 6 waters. I was pissing all through the Super Bowl. I had to keep going to the bathroom, peeing. I drank a big Gatorade Pedialyte thing afterwards. I don't feel that bad today. I think I took care of everything. I ate enough to make sure I was fueled to recover. What they got to stop doing that to people. Not fair.
Did the team you played in the second game have to play a first game as well, or did they have a bye? Oh yeah,
no.
That's unfair.
Yeah, no, they just showed up. They were a good team. That was the team we beat, or we should have beat last week, but we got hoed by the time. Turns out they had 2 dudes that didn't show up that were nasty. They had these two guys that were like elite. I'm guarding the best dude on the floor. I'm dying out there trying to cover these guys.
Yeah, that seems pretty unfair. You can't let like what's the point? Like that's so stupid. Yeah, no, I don't like that.
We were all like, what if they really want to watch the Super Bowl and they're just gonna forfeit? Like, what if they all no show?
Imagine. Ratless Super Bowl because that was just like the worst possible outcome any of us could have ever wanted. Just like the two least root forable teams that I could have ever picked to play in the Super Bowl would be the Chiefs, who have dominated for the past 2 years, and you don't want to see them win again, and then Philadelphia. Just sucked. That wasn't fun. Didn't like it at all. Didn't want Philly to win. I didn't care that I had to root for the Chiefs. Just didn't want them to win, and they did. And it is what it is now. Like I'm not gonna like cry about it. Like it's like I don't care enough about either of the teams to like be actually upset. But just like how not fun was that? How fucking awful was that to watch for the X amount of hours? Like at least last year's team, as boring as it was, being the two best teams in the league and no actual entertainment, was like a good game. This wasn't even a good game. This just sucked. Like the Super Bowl was just dog shit.
Well, I'll tell you this: is a Eagles better, a tails better, and an over 2.5 passers better. It was very fun to watch because I hit all my bets.
We were a heads household. We were very.
Oh my god! Did you bet Chiefs too, or did you just root for them?
I put money in the Chiefs. Yeah.
Oh,
it was just
no,
an awful
Jack.
day. It's a terrible day. It was just, and I didn't want to I didn't want either team to win either. If both teams could have like spontaneously combusted and no one won the Super Bowl this year, would have been my ideal outcome. Like this just sucked. Like this whole Super Bowl was just
there was just like an incident that happened like before the game that was so like deplorable. They were like, we can't play a game. Can't.
Yeah, no one gets to play. Yeah, no, this just awful Super Bowl. Terrible. 0 out of 10.
You know what the best part of the Super Bowl always is when they have the halftime show and like half the people go on Twitter and like this is the greatest halftime show, and then half the people go on Twitter and be like that sucked. It's always so funny to see him go back and forth. I mean, I'm not like a Kendrick guy. He's fine. I think
it's a good show though. I liked it.
Everybody was just waiting for him to make fun of Drake. He did that.
And he did.
Everybody was,
it was funny.
Drake went on Instagram after and like posted a meme of like a guy ready to press a button, like as if he's gonna like launch a nuke. Probably just sit that one out. Maybe just don't say anything. I don't know what Drake does from now on. Like, the dude won Grammys, did the Super Bowl of the song making fun of Drake.
Yeah, dude called you. I won't say it here, but he called you something in a song and won a Grammy for it.
Yeah. I'll say it.
You call him that in a song and win a Grammy for it, Drake. You just gotta you lose. You just lose. I'm sorry, you don't get to win that one, buddy. Like you just.
Chirp was in hell. They did the Mustard song, which he hates.
I know, and Mustard was there.
Yeah, I was like, that's him. That's the guy. That must be the Mustard guy. That's him.
That rocks. Yeah,
I did have a friend at my Super Bowl party that did not know the song. He didn't know the Drake song, and we were all like explaining to him like what it was and why it was significant. Man, I can't imagine just the feeling of everybody's having fun at your expense at that event.
To that level, right?
Yes.
Crazy. To see Kendrick like say like the line where he says like Drake's name, just look into the camera and smile.
Yeah.
Tough. That's just tough, bro, if you're Drake.
I know that all gets rehearsed, but like I just think of how many times we do a show and like I'll forget something that I wanted to say on the rat list by the time the show's over. I'm like, damn, I should have did that. To be like, I'm going to look at the camera. I know exactly when to do it and where the camera is, and to nail it like that, that's not nothing. Like, that's pretty impressive that he did that.
Yeah. Tough.
Poor Frank bet the Chiefs in a house that everybody bet the Eagles, and he was just getting roasted. He was like still mad about it today. He was like, I'm having a bad day, and I'm just sitting here thinking about like all those dudes making fun of me last night, yelling at me because the Eagles were winning. One of my buddies is an Eagles fan, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna ride with him. I wore my Celtics hat that is like, it looks like the Eagles green and everything, and I was like, we're gonna ride, we're gonna bet, like we're gonna have fun. I also crushed like a ton of food because I had just played 80 minutes of basketball. I needed to refuel myself. Great time to actually like the best possible day to just annihilate your body, so you need to refuel.
It's good. You know Drama Alert, which is like Keemstar's thing, but they have like a Twitter account where they just post.
I'm aware of it. Yes.
So Drama Alert posted, Drake is reportedly upset about Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance, and someone quote tweets and just goes, "Why? What happened?" Yeah, no shit. The fuck? What is that? Shut up.
Also, Twitter is the best place to be. Like Super Bowl is a top 5 of the year day on Twitter every year because everybody's watching it. everybody's just posting memes, making fun of like the halftime show, or they're posting the thing of Chris Jones like doubled over on the sideline like LeBron at the Garden a couple years ago when they didn't call the foul and he threw the temper tantrum. Like it was the same picture. Just everybody's online having a good time together. It's great.
Devonta Smith, who's a Celtics fan, won a Super Bowl, obviously.
Oh, I didn't know he was a Celtics fan. Congratulations, Devonta.
So I just saw this. I need to take the rat off the screen. I just saw this. I got it. This on Twitter, and it's like GRD repost this, and it's just this, and it says from Touchdown Alabama. I took this video. This is my fucking video, and they just ripped it from me. This is the video I took of my computer screen of this interaction happening, and they just ripped. They yoinked it. I was like, wait, why does that look familiar? It's because it's me. It's mine. And they fucking took it.
It's just like your reflection in the glare.
Yeah, like probably. Yeah, look, literally, it's just my video that I tweeted this time 2 years ago. Like it is
a lot of views on it.
Ripped it and posted it. Yeah, I mean, shit. I was like, wait,
I'm about to go quote tweet and say congratulations to Devonta Smith.
I don't have anything else. I don't think I do. I went to Costco yesterday. It was fun. Big booms.
Boom.
Got a chicken bake and a double chunk chocolate cookies. Very yummy. And you get free refills at Costco. Do you know that? Free refills in your drinks?
I've never been to a Costco.
You know how much a drink is at Costco?
It's got to be like 99 cents.
79 cents. Yeah, we're about to leave. Danny threw away his cup by accident because he didn't know it was
what
free
an
refills.
Idiot.
He was
How
upset.
was it marathon on Saturday? He ran the marathon, right?
He did a marathon fundraiser.
He completed a marathon.
No, he did a fundraiser to fundraise money for the marathon that he is running.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes a lot more sense.
The Boston Marathon is not until
April. Well, I'm aware of when that was. I just figured they had a different marathon that he was doing.
No, he's running the Boston Marathon.
Oh, that'll be fun. What was the fundraiser? What did you guys do for it?
Drink. He had a bar, and the bar let him have a room, and he charged people, or people donated as they entered, and then he did like a 50-50 raffle. So that's it. Yeah, it was good. That's all I got. You got anything else? I'm out.
I'm good. I got nothing else.
All right. In that case, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of Celtics Heat, tell us what you thought of the Super Bowl, or whatever else we talked about today. I'm sure there was a lot. Make sure you hit the bell as well. We're here every single day. New pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game. Other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can also find Jack and I here live for a half hour before every single game for pregame. It's a ton of fun. Come hang out. Enjoy the vibes before tip-off. We're always here. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are there for you. So if you just want the audio, we got you covered. Follow and leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. It does help us reach more people. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Thank you to everyone who did so today, except for the SEO scammers. Please stop emailing us. But if you actually like the show, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We will read your emails. Socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is Jack's1NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.